Zask will have stronger skill 1 damage with a lower mana cost. His skill 2 now have a reduced force swing by 40%, while his ultimate can now be spawned on a selected area with a higher HP and defense.
Chu now needs only a short distance for his enhanced basic attack. His first skill have an increased dash distance by 20%. With any combination of skill 1 and 2, will activate his enhanced basic attack with lower passive cooldown. While his second skill was remove of the effect of increasing physical penetration himself, his third skill also have a shorter kick distance. Olus will now have higher attack speed on his stack. His first skill has now a lower cooldown and higher damage reduction for every physical attack that scales with level. His second skill is slightly adjusted on his enhanced basic attack, while his third skill was also adjusted to blade, handle, and hammercraft with higher base damage and sustained damage. His ultimate now cannot be interrupted. Diomord has now higher physical attack gained on his critical chance. His second skill has now a shorter cooldown and higher damage. Bane's passive has now higher physical attack based on the target's max HP. Kagura has now lower mana cost on her first skill and have a new effect that increases her damage to non-hero unit by 130%. Her ultimate is buffed and have a higher pulling damage. Eve has now more damage bonus on her first skill and more slow on her second skill that scales up to 60%. Higher base damage on Aurora's first skill, while her hailstone damage was adjusted to 40 on all levels. Cecilian's second skill was remove of the force wing animation. This means no delay on casting it. Alice now have a higher base mana from 493 up to 750. Blue's first skill is now adjusted so that he can recover 4% of max HP when the explosion hits a target. It will double the amount recovered when the explosion hits a hero.
Higher damage on Hayabusa's first skill and lower energy cost, but it will have lower damage to creeps from 70% down to 50%. Badang will now have a shorter cooldown and higher base shield on his second skill. His ultimate is lowered in the late game from 30 seconds down to 26 seconds. Jawhead's max stacks was reduced from 10 to 6 and each stack will have higher damage from 1 to 2%. His second skill has now higher base shield from 375 up to 1000. Clean's first skill second shot damage reduction is adjusted to 50% at all levels. Atlas' passive skill has now increased physical and magic defense, while his second skill has a lower cooldown. Raphaela's mana cost on her first and second skill is now reduced. Beatrix's passive has now higher conversion on her critical chance. Her first skill reduced the delay between switching weapons. Higher basic attack speed and attack speed growth on 1-1. Baksha's second skill has now lower mana cost while his ultimate is adjusted on his final damage reduction and its cooldown. Moskov's attack speed boost is lowered on his first skill, while longer cooldown and shorter stun on his second skill. The enemy revealed on his second skill is also lowered from 5 seconds down to 2 seconds. Diggy's ultimate duration is reduced from 3 seconds down to 2 seconds. Lunok's enhanced first skill is no longer affected by cooldown reduction after releasing the ultimate in Chaos form. Nathan's magic power and attack effect are lowered together with his first skill and second skill. His ultimate is also reduced from 70% down to 35%. Novaria's ultimate duration is reduced from 8 seconds down to 5 seconds. Lui's ultimate is adjusted to 60 seconds at all levels. Fredrin's conversion ratio from crystal energy is adjusted to 21 to 35%. Esmeralda's role is changed from mage tank to tank mage and comes with a lower physical and magical defense growth. Lower damage on Nana's first skill. Her second skill animation is buff and a higher slow effect, while her ultimate has lower slow and slightly lower damage. Vale's sustained damage and base damage on his second skill is lowered. His ultimate has also higher cooldown but has a higher damage.